welcome, croeso, to Creative Mornings Cardiff. It's great to see so many new faces here today. I'm sure it's just because of Lowry and I, and nothing to do with Hardline's coffee.
And so food.
Oh, and the food, the amazing food we've had here. So, just a quick primer. Creative Mornings is a global group which, we're just a chapter of like 250, something like that?
100 something.
And all around the world. And we're Cardiff's Creative Morning chapter, and we do these talks every month, usually the last Friday of the month. So this is technically September. No,
November.
October. We're in October.
Oh, October's event, yeah.
We're technically October.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about the confusion. But there will be another one at the end of November. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's get going. We have a theme for every month of Creative Mornings. This month is Vision, and there's like an illustration by Razan Al-Shahan. Well done. We have, at the moment, we have two wonderful partners, sponsors who support us. We have Adobe and Creative Collective. But sadly, Creative Collective, this is the last month Creative Collective will be sponsoring us. So we are putting out the feelers for sponsors to help support this. We are a non-profit. We don't get paid. We're all volunteers. We just do this just to keep the creative community together and something for everyone to come to, so we can say hi to each other every month. And yes, if you are interested or know someone who might be interested in sponsoring this, then please come to us at the end or contact us on Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
That'd work.
I'd like coffee.
Don't contact us.
don't contact us.
I don't want to know.
And then finally, I'd like to say thank you to Baccaretto. They've been absolutely amazing. Allowing Laura and I to come check out the space beforehand while everyone was eating here and just getting in the way, and just sorting out, I think, the best breakfast we've had. That's awesome. I was just stuffing one down now, but it was good. And finally, thanks to our photographer Carolina. She's actually an incredible photographer, and she puts all the photos on our Flickr, which we will distribute afterwards, but she is a fantastic... you mostly do live music? And available for your event or live music event. She's absolutely amazing. She's always turns up, and she's absolutely fantastic for us. There's more than turning up. Another thing. The wonderful Lowry here is running Rabble Studio now down the bay, and they have an opening of a studio. Would you like to give a...
just in some shameless self-promotion. If anyone is looking for a studio for 2 or 3 or maybe 4 people in a lovely co-working space in the bay, have a look at Rabble's website or Instagram and let us know.
And you might bump into me, I'm down there as well. So. And I think that's it. I will leave you with... I don't want to take too much of your time. I think you've got a big story to tell anyway. I don't think they need much of an introduction either. So I will leave the clicker to you, Steve.
Cheers.
Thank you very much for coming. So nice to see so many lovely faces. I'm just going to echo a couple of bits that Harry said to start with. Just a big thanks to Baccaretto. We've been long-term partners with Baccaretto since they opened from a coffee perspective, and they're always such a joy to work with. And I always love eating here and drinking here. So a big thanks to Nia and Becca and the team for today. And then also a massive thanks to Creative Mornings and Harry and the team for asking us along. It feels like it's gone quite full circle. So I think we used to host some of the Creative Mornings like way back in the day when we were over in the Castle Emporium. So it feels like a nice thing to finally be asked along. Just a big thanks to the guys there. Some introductions. My name's Matt. I, along with Sophie, who's around somewhere, I guess co-founded Hardlines back in 2016.
I'm
Hi everyone, I'm the head of people and development. So my role is to kind of manage all the stuff that looks after our staff, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. I also co-run with Steve our social action programme, which we're also going to talk a bit about, and work on a lot of our fundraising efforts as well.
And I'm Steve, I'm the head of brand and design at Hardlines. Yeah, I know. Sorry, I was back for a while. And also leader at the Run Club and chief clicker for today.
I think we probably know the answer to this, but hands up if you have heard of Hardlines. Okay. It's so awkward.
Great.
There was no hands up.
Yeah, really awkward. And then hands up before today if anyone's enjoyed a Hardlines coffee before.
Or not enjoyed one.
Or not, no, just enjoyed one. Great, we're preaching to the converted, we can bugger off.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, Hardlines is a cafe and roastery based in Cardiff. We've got a cafe over in Canton, and then we do all of our kind of roasting operation now up in Gwela de Garth. And like the real main aim, I guess, with Hardlines is to try and create a kind of fun, creative, enjoyable coffee brand, basically, and to get coffee to as many people as we can in all kinds of ways, whether that's coffee, instant coffee, coffee pods, merch, just get some good coffee out there. So basically how it's going to work today, you're probably going to hear a lot from me, unfortunately, in the first 10 minutes. And I'm going to take you through 12, 13, depends how much fun we're having. And then, so I'm going to do a bit of talking, and I'm going to take you through basically kind of the inception of Hardlines from about 2016, and then I'm going to bring you up to about 2019 when we opened the Canton Cafe, basically. And at that point, I'm going to hand over to these two, who are going to kind of focus in a little bit more on kind of some of the key drivers, kind of the vision stuff that we've kind of tried to really focus on over the last kind of 4 or 5 years, and that I think is kind of really kind of instrumental to our success, I think, over the last couple of years. So, and then, yeah, these guys will take that over. And then hopefully at the end, as we go along, if you have any questions, you want to bank up and shout out at the end, we'll open the floor and we'll do some of that as well, which I think is always really nice to hear from people. Also, in true kind of Hardlines DIY fashion, the audio wasn't really working in the projection situation, so that little Bluetooth speaker over there, there's a couple of videos in the presentation, so everyone will have to be really quiet and listen really nicely. So, on that, we'll get cracking. Hit the slide. So, this isn't Hardlines. This is a cafe called Satan's Coffee Corner in Barcelona. And in 2016, me and Sophie sat here one morning and basically kind of, decided that we were going to try and come back and start something in Cardiff, effectively. So we were quite disillusioned at the time. We both worked in kind of theatre, sound, production kind of work. We'd had quite rough Christmases that year, and we just kind of wanted to get away and just try something different. So we basically hung out in Barcelona for a week or 2 weeks and just kind of really tried to immerse ourselves in that city. I was quite big into kind of food and drink at the time. Sophie was really into kind of records, music, and gigs. So yeah, basically we just got, I think, a real buzz there that week. And we kind of sat here one morning just before coming home and scribbled some bits on some paper, had some chat, and basically kind of promised ourselves that we would come back and try and make something happen in Cardiff, try and bring some of that feel that we had in Barcelona that week back to Cardiff. And we didn't think there was really anything at the time in Cardiff that was really kind of pushing anything or doing anything different. So we wanted to try and do a little bit of that. Cue next slide. This is us. If you can see that, that is young, fresh, loving life. That was 4 months after getting back from Barcelona. And that was our first event that we put on. There may well be some people in this room that were at that event back in 2016 in Brugge. But for the kind of keen-eyed amongst you, this isn't Hardlines. That's obviously Outpost. I'll get back to that little juncture shortly. But this was it, basically. We came back and through some different ideas, throwing some stuff around, we landed on that we wanted to do basically a pop-up coffee bar and vinyl store. So we kind of went about trying to make that happen, really. We would we built a bar, and we would basically go to kind of markets, I don't know, backs of pubs, wherever that would kind of take us, and try and sell some coffee and try and sell some vinyl, I guess. The whole idea was to kind of try and prove a concept in that time, just to try and see like what we thought was an all right idea, that people would kind of like that, and people would get on board with it, and people wanted something like that. So that the whole kind of idea of this kind of pop-up phase was kind of testing the waters and yeah, seeing if we had anything, basically. I think we both put in like 900 quid each, bought a load of coffee stuff, bought some vinyl, and kind of got cracking. So yeah, this was going quite well, I thought, for a couple of months. We were doing these events, people were coming, we were having returning custom, so we kind of had a good feel that whilst they were still very, very small and we weren't seeing loads of people by any means, people kind of liked what we were doing. I think my general hot take these days, which is being recorded, so let's keep it. I think there tends to be a habit now, for sure, within kind of business, that people think you can kind of just open the doors of somewhere, open a new cafe, kind of like find a location, open the doors, and that's kind of all you need to do. I disagree with that, and I certainly kind of, back then, it was certainly not the case. Like, I feel like you need to kind of work really, really hard to give customers or friends or whatever it is something to like kind of get on board with, something to kind of believe in, something they want to tell their friends about, that they want to come back to. So the whole idea was to try to create an experience, even on this kind of small scale, that people wanted to talk about, basically. And I feel like we were doing that then, and I still feel like we do that now, hopefully, in the CAF and through all of the kind of brand stuff that we do. For me, that's kind of how you build something from nothing, and that's kind of, I think, how you build a community, I think. Next slide. So we were doing the pop-up stuff, and that was going pretty well, but we knew we needed or wanted somewhere that we could kind of like, I guess, just kind of sit into, I guess, somewhere where when people wanted a coffee or where people wanted to buy a record, they could come to, and they wouldn't have to like be like, where are they this week or whatever. So this kind of spot came up just off Womerby Street in a place called the Castle Emporium, which some of you may remember, and this is actually the spot that we hosted those Creative Mornings way back in the day. Yeah, so that's it really. I mean,
£2.40 latte.
£2.40 lattes, everyone. £1.80 espresso. We're making absolutely no money then. Selling some bananas here. We were really pushing the boundaries of coffee and breakfast in Cardiff at that time. So it's also probably a good time to say that. Yeah, so that's me and Soph, basically. It's probably a good time to say, and I'm sure in this room there's lots of kind of small, medium-sized businesses, maybe people who freelance, kind of companies of one, whatever it is. For me, I can't really kind of stress the importance of trying to go into those things with some kind of partner, I think. Like, it's really, really hard starting something from nothing, I think. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of energy and a lot of emotional stuff. So having someone you can kind of bounce off, I think, is really super important. Like, you'll definitely have bad days, you'll definitely have good days, but it's very likely you'll kind of like pass over on those. So if you're having a bad time, it's likely somebody else can kind of like help lift you up, and vice versa. So I really think we wouldn't be where we are today without each other as a team, but also all of those people really early on that kind of offered to help us for the promise of free coffee, I think. So yeah, really kind of that whole business partnership. I don't think we knew too much where it would go at the time when we were having those conversations really on, but I think it's really solidified over the years, and obviously things do change when you've been in business for kind of 8 years with someone, but I think kind of that kind of origin story and where it started is still really core today, I think. So back to this then. So this happened, which was fun, and then next slide me. And then this is Cardiff Market, basically. So it all happened quite quick. We had that Castle Emporium spot, and we basically got given, or were asked to kind of take up an opportunity in Cardiff Market, which is just behind us, which is quite nice. I really love the market. I think it's full of history, really lovely place. So we kind of jumped at the opportunity to do that, basically. That's little Zachy. Zach was our first ever hire for Hardlines, and now is a very successful tattoo artist. So again, back to the keen-eyed amongst you, we've gone Hardlines, baby. So Outpost is over, Hardlines has begun. So what happened basically, about 3 weeks out from opening this, I was like sifting through some letters, some boring bills and shit, and then I came across a letter, read it, reread it. I was a bit confused. We'd basically been sent a cease and desist letter for that name, Outpost. There was another Outpost coffee basically at the time, or still is actually, to be fair, and they weren't very happy that we'd taken this name. Again, another hot take from me. I'd say register. If you've got business, maybe register the name, maybe check out if anyone else has got that name. Trademark, whatever you need to do, just kind of protect the brand. So we basically had about 3 weeks before the opening of this. Obviously, we hadn't done much of the branding at the time to turn around effectively a new brand, a new name, and a new identity. People often ask me where that name come from or how we kind of like got to that name. On that letter that came that day, and I really, really wish I'd kept it, but it read something along the lines of, we're required to change your name without delay. Failure to do so will require us to take a hard line with you. And that seemed like...
Stole that name as well.
Yeah, so we stole that as well. Fuck them. So that seemed like a good kind of opportunity as any to take that name. And yeah, from that, Hardlines was born. It was actually a really exciting time, actually, to change things up. And I think it was actually really a good thing. Like, we'd learned a lot over that first kind of year and a half over what we thought worked, what kind of didn't work. We kind of started to get a feel from our customer base and that kind of stuff as well. So it gave us an opportunity really for a bit of a fresh start going into this space. We took a look at the business as a whole at this time. Like we knew to this point we weren't roasting coffee basically, but we knew that was something we wanted to achieve. So we saw this as a good opportunity to kind of start that mission. We took a look at the business. Yeah, like I say, we took a look at the business as a whole. At this point, it turns out basically there's no money in selling vinyl records. So don't do that as a business. So we decided to scrap that basically. We decided to do that and then really just double down on coffee, on starting this roasting journey, on trying to create an experience around coffee and a brand around coffee. Like most people in business, certainly early on in business, we were very, very broke. We didn't have a lot of money at all, really. At the time, we weren't paying ourselves or anything at this point in the journey. And I remember we used to do a lot of events, basically. So like a lot of festivals. We kind of still do a bit of that now. But lots of events to try and go, sell some coffee, make some money, get home, crack on. One event specifically that really sticks in my mind around this time was we did Bristol Balloon Fiesta, so it's where all the lovely balloons go up over Clifton in Bristol. On paper, for coffee, that should be a really good event. It's really close to home for us, so it means it's really easy to travel, obviously, back and forth. It's really, really early starts for the balloons going up, so that means I would think that everyone wants coffee in the morning. It wasn't very good. So basically, for the whole weekend, it rained, and the wind blew so much. It was basically completely off. I think we saw like 2 balloons go up that weekend. And I generally remember driving home on that Sunday night, coming back over the bridge, back into Wales. And at that time, you still had to pay to get back into Wales. And I generally didn't have enough on the business account at that time to pay for the bridge. So technically, Hardline still owes me £7 for that bridge. So yeah, in short, didn't have any money. Needed some money to ideally buy a roaster and to ideally get cracking on this next stage of the journey. As part of this, we launched a Kickstarter campaign, which maybe some people gave to way back in the day. Looking around, putting this presentation together, we dug out the video, and I really loved it then, and I really love it now. So I thought it was a nice opportunity to share it with you, to have a little watch over what that was. Hit it.
Hello. 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 Hardlines needs your help. They are opening a brand new cafe, roastery and kitchen in the heart of Cardiff city centre. They are asking for £14,000 to help secure and install their new roaster. Hardlines are 2 years old and have recently started roasting. They are bringing their roaster into the city, as part of the new cafe roastery, a place for the people, you guys, to hang out and have fun. The Hardlines Cafe Roastery will focus on creating the best environment for customers. Top class food. Amazing coffee. Cool events. Same Hardlines. New awesome location. The past 2 years has taught them a lot and now they're ready, with your support, to take Hardlines to the next level. They promise to bring something exciting, fresh and new to Cardiff. A place for you to bring your friends and family. A place to feel safe, appreciated and welcome. They've got some killer awards on offer, invitations to special events, a year's free coffee, cool merch and wild, once in a lifetime experiences. The plan. Reach the £14,000 target. Move out of our current home at Emporium. Get to work on 25 Castle Street. Open this winter. Keep having fun. Thanks for watching, reading and hopefully donating. See you soon for a brew. Big love, Team Hardlines.
Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for giving some money. It's worth saying, I think, at this time that was all shot on an iPhone on a Saturday morning in that Castle Emporium space. And before starting that video that morning, we had no idea what that video was going to be. I feel like that shows. And kind of looking at it now, I feel like we may have invented Reels, maybe? But, you know. So yeah, that was that basically. We went on during that campaign to raise £15,000, so just exceed our target. And basically that's how we bought our first coffee roaster. So we had the roaster, we got the roaster, and then over that year we had some varying success in finding a location. Kind of thought we were gonna go into a certain spot in town actually. That got pulled, found another spot, got pulled, blah, blah, blah. But then Canton came up, which obviously is still there now. I lived around the corner at the time, and when I kind of saw that kind of to let sign go up, I knew in terms of a space, it was going to be really great. I thought I could really clearly see kind of a really strong vision for that space and what we could do with it. And yeah, finally giving a kind of opportunity to our customer base at that time to come and enjoy some coffee and see the roasting operation finally. So yeah, we opened Canton in November of 2019. And I guess that's where I'll stop talking. And I'll hand over to these guys a little bit to talk, like I said, about some of those kind of main drivers and some of those key points that I feel has really kind of taken us into a new gear over the last 4 years. So over to you guys.
Lovely. So yeah, this is kind of where my journey with Hardlines begins, really. I'd been a friend of the guys and popping into the cafes, and then kind of realised there's something exciting going on here. I want to kind of get involved with it. So I jumped aside when I was looking for a new challenge. I was working in TV and film at the time, kind of getting a bit fed up with how that was going. And yeah, the guys were doing some really cool designs and stuff, and I was like, I just want to be part of it. The creativity was kind of really a part of the fabric of what they wanted to do. So yeah, my first task as head of brand and design, alongside Caddy, who's now our marketing creative and our illustrator, was to design the cafe and roastery space. This cafe and roastery space. We had limited funds to play with, as Matt and Soph had spent all the money on the roaster, so we had to. So we had to kind of design a space that could kind of evolve naturally over time. So early days, very kind of sparse in what it is now, but that kind of evolution was quite nice, and it kind of happened as we made more money. So the thought all along was to make a space that kind of felt kind of alternative to what was in Cardiff at the time, or even in the specialty coffee scene, which is very kind of a cold, Scandi, you know, like quite transactional thing. We wanted to create something friendly, warm, welcoming, sit down for a long time, grab takeaway coffee, that kind of thing. And it was really reminiscent of the kind of like Italian Welsh cafes you have in the valleys. And I kind of like crossed over with that kind of American diner vibe. And then so it's kind of like help ingrain this kind of authenticity of like, we've always been there. We went into like hand painting the windows, making sure that all the signage in the cafe is hand painted, and kind of just ingrain that kind of what we thought would become like an authentic space. We at this point we didn't have what is now known as Cuppy. We really needed something to like put on the window to kind of be that first kind of like welcoming sign. So that's when we first kind of envisioned Cuppy, which is this lovely little drawing that Cardiff made. And I think it's it's just like, it just has developed over time, and it's quite nice for over the years. That was like, what, that was 2019.
Yeah.
This is around up to about 2021, 2022. Yeah. And then, like the newer, more developed version of Cuppy. So he's got a glowing, cheeky, slightly menacing smile that's kind of, still kind of want to keep it there because, you know, it's part of the brand. But kind of lost it a little bit with it. So we knew we had something special at this point. And we soon kind of adopted it across basically everything, you know, on the t-shirt. But while this is all going on, we're kind of like, we're quite excited, this new brand is happening, the cafe was doing quite well. COVID-19 hit, which was crazy in all senses, but it also sent our website into kind of overdrive. Like we started receiving orders from everywhere, and we really saw this like, I guess, opportunity or a need for us to like jump in head on and kind of build that side of the business, which has been quite, at that point it was quite small, wasn't it?
Yeah,
small. It was quite small fraction.
So I think maybe 1 day a week roasting, maybe at that point.
Yeah, 1 day. And then we jumped straight to 5 days.
5 days, yeah.
That cafe turned into just a dispatch centre. It was, you know, Royal Mail parcels packed up high. So it kind of gave us that kind of, that foundation to the business. It's also important to note that that's when we really started two things. One was a newsletter, a weekly newsletter, now has amassed 15,000 subscribers, and a run club. So it started out as a Strava online run club to kind of keep in touch with customers, staff, check in on everyone, see how everyone's doing, which has kind of led to, that greater things. Both these kind of initiatives gave us a way to connect with a wider community. And it's kind of taught us the importance of like being consistent in what we did, send that newsletter every week, and hold that run club every Thursday. So people kind of fell in love with that kind of, the brand, the coffee, the running, and we kind of used that as a way to kind of export what we do everywhere. While we were experiencing while we were experiencing like the successes, the stresses of like the online sales, the brand was kind of attracting a lot of collaborations with the likes of like New Balance, Hoka, Rafa, all those sorts of things, and it became apparent we were kind of dealing with two identities at the point. So, there's Cuppy. So two identities, Cuppy as we all know, but also the faces. Now both these identities are great, but it was kind of apparent to us that they were kind of pulling in two complete directions. You could go with one and have a great brand, or you could go with the other and have a great brand. And we had to make that choice of which way do we go with it. So we knew what we wanted to do, but it took us a long point to make that final decision, because we didn't. What would our followers do? Our coffee subscribers that were receiving coffee every month in post, and our wholesale partners who were having the coffee on their shelves. I mean, kind of that side of things has become essential to our business. Other people selling it, seeing it, buying it. So would they be on board with the change? And as you see in front of us, we made the switch only this September, which sounds crazy because that journey had been
2.5 years, maybe.
2.5 years. So we finally did it, and we hope it's a success. No, it has. It's definitely a success. It's been a big success, and we now have a brand that's like consistent across like the cafe, the packaging, the website. So this is kind of where we're at now. we know where we want to go with things. We've got some ideas in mind, but I think that's all to come, and I'm sure you guys will be right behind us the whole way. So just kind of to round up, I'm going to play a video which we actually shot in that time coming back from COVID, opening up the new cafe, and it's we made this with Brian Edelson, who's a good friend of ours, loves the BAP, and it just shows kind of like the creativity and like sometimes you've just got to jump and take a challenge. So Brian had a film crew that he was working with the next day, and he was like, I love the BAP, can we make something to homage to the BAP? So he had all this really nice camera equipment, lighting, and we were like, fuck yeah, let's do this. So this was done in how many hours?
Too many.
Not 5.
I ate a lot of BAPs, you'll see.
I just have to take our word for it. That was good, guys.
Yeah.
YouTube, Vimeo,
Yeah.
Instagram.
Share it. Do what you need to do.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you all a little bit about staff welfare and our staff community, and then also our wider community and how we are working on that area as well. We're working really hard at the moment to improve our lives as an employer. And I want to just start by setting the scene for you. So during COVID, our staff team increased from 4 to 17, and we're now at 28. As Matt hits the floor every time I remind him of that figure. And that is a pretty exponential growth, and it is down to our team are amazing. They work so hard, but to be honest, the back of house functions were not developing at the same pace. It was, and the cracks of that were kind of starting to show. Making sure that we are the best employer. There we are. Making sure that we're the best employer we can be is a huge priority for us. In terms of the health and the well-being and the job satisfaction of these guys, but also the industry that we're a part of. It's also really important as we continue to grow for our recruitment and our retention, which is another big priority for us at the moment. So Matt and Sophie brought me on board in 2022, and the brief was to kind of oversee everything to do with our staff. So the first thing we did was we needed to establish a baseline in terms of how people felt about working for us. So we did a staff survey, and I actually remembered as I was walking in this morning and going over my notes as you do. We got 100% retention rate, 100% response rate on that, which shows how engaged people are and how our staff. There is a lot of work for us to do, but how everyone really believes in the brand and is happy to work at Hardlines. That is certainly unique to my job, to my career history. So it's great. And I thought it was useful for you guys to know. So we did the survey to get that temperature check. We published the results back to the staff as part of the transparency, and then we put an action plan in place, and we met weekly, fortnightly to kind of work through that feedback and to hold us accountable to do that. Through that process, two of the big takeaways were that the team wanted more and better consistency and better communication. Those were things that were really important to them. So we now try and have those two things as the starting point for all our events, all our decision making and activities. We've also introduced more meaningful benefits that show our staff how much they are valued. So we've got a profit share scheme, staff social, staff book library, R&D trips for our cafe team and our roastery teams. Training is a really big priority for us, which in part is made possible by Food and Drink Skills Wales. If you are here representing a business that is part of hospitality or production or manufacturing, definitely get in touch because they cover 80% of all our training costs. And almost every staff member this year has attended at least one meaningful training course for their role and their career development, which is amazing. But I do have to give a shout out to those guys because they've really helped us to make that possible. Flexible working for parents, that's another one that we're really proud of. And we're working on improving our communication and our opportunities for feedback. And so we've got monthly manager meetings, we've introduced monthly one-to-ones, we do exit interviews with all staff and try and actively act on that feedback. We also do annual development reviews, that's quite new for us. But we're really focusing on career development and progression because a lot of people that work for Hardlines want to progress through the business, which is amazing. And so we're really working to see how we can make those progression routes possible. And we've changed the way that we recruit. So we now publish a deck for every job, and we put as much information as we possibly can. We don't hold anything back in that. We make sure that panel members are available for calls with any interested applicant before applying or before interview. We cover travel costs, and we send out interview questions at least 7 days before the interviews, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't want, an interview shouldn't be a test of how well you can recall what you prepped. It's about getting to see if you both, are on the same page. So that's been really good. And we get back to everybody who has submitted an application, so people don't feel like they're submitting into a void, which is a bit shit. But we've had some really positive feedback, and it is something, there's still a lot to work on with that, but we're really proud of how it's going. And we've also put in place a full set of policies, procedures, and a handbook, which for a while is all I did.
Did a lot of it.
I did a lot of it.
I designed a lot of it.
A lot of it,
time.
But it has been a huge milestone for us. And it is great to be able to, stand up here today in front of everyone and say, we're doing all this stuff, isn't it great? But it's really hard, and some of it is taking a lot longer to achieve. So I thought, what you really want to know is the juicy stuff. Like a little look behind the curtain of what's not going so well, or taking us longer to achieve. Communication is a really big one. So we're a multi-site business. And in some ways, our communication methods are way back in our DIY startup days when there were just like 4 staff on the team and you guys were all mates. So for example, we currently rely on WhatsApp quite a bit. And we recognise that for lots of reasons that isn't really appropriate anymore. And so 2025, a big project will be communication and improving the way that we communicate with each other. And the other one is, having policies is great, procedures, handbook, that's all great. But the actual hard work that we're finding is how we embody that, and how, when it comes down to it, that we are acting in the way that we say we will every time, and that as a business, our culture really embodies the handbook and the way that we say we want people to feel when they work for us is the reality of it. So that's really positive work on that, but as ever, there's more we could do. I also want to share some of the work that we've been doing with our wider community. So over the years, we've done lots to lead and support different initiatives. But as you'll see on our bags, we've now signed up to the 1% for the Planet initiative. So you may or may not know what that is. But basically, we donate 1% of annual revenue to environmental causes around the world. And they have got a great website if you want to check it out, and there's quite a few Welsh charities that you can support through that initiative, which is really good to see. And we've also launched our social action programme, Ground Level. So we wanted to create something that could consolidate the social conscience of the brand in a very intentional way. With Ground Level, we can initiate and collaborate on projects that support all the different communities that we are a part of. So locally and further afield. So earlier this week, me and Steve went to the food bank, the main warehouse on Titan Road.
Still feeling it from lifting all the boxes.
I know, yeah. It was absolutely amazing. To process the donations that our customers had given the week before. So if anyone in this room donated anything to that effort, thank you so much. So we'd run a week-long food drive at our cafe the week before. And our customers donated 192.7 kilograms of food, which is basically 171 meals for local people in crisis all across our city. And that is really what Ground Level is all about. It's like making that meaningful impact. And it was amazing to be able to go and see. The food bank is almost like the warehouse is kind of volunteer run, and it is incredible to see the work they do. We've also run a project called Running in the Dark. So that was the first project that we did to launch Ground Level earlier this year, and it was a collaboration with our Run Club and Phoenix Torches. So it demonstrated and showed the very real dangers that women face when running at night in autumn and winter when it gets darker earlier. And we wanted to make sure that Run Club was a safe space for women to come and make sure that they're getting that outdoor exercise if that's what they want to do. So we've just published a guide about why we did that project, what we did and how we did it, and it's on our website. So I could talk about it. I could still be here at lunchtime talking about it, but if you're interested, then go and check it out on our website. It is pretty comprehensive. And then we also launched a new coffee that some of you might have got. It was called For the Forests, and we did that in partnership with climate action charity Size of Wales. So that project was to raise money for the Wampees. They are an autonomous indigenous community in Peru. They are the guardians of the Peruvian Amazon. And the work they do is vital in the fight against climate change. So again, it was amazing to be able to work on a project that helped. I think we raised, I can't remember the exact amount.
4.5 maybe? Grand,
yeah,
maybe?
£4,500, something like that. But again, that's what Ground Level is all about, really. And the benefits of a programme like that are twofold. So we can meaningfully work on projects that are important to us. And hopefully make change. And what we want to do with the projects that we've worked on this year and the charities that we've worked with is build on that, so that we're kind of consolidating and deepening those partnerships and the work. But also, and I think it's okay to admit this, it benefits the business as well. So it kind of shines a light on our values, and we found real benefits there for our recruitment yield. That's really gone up, and it gets name checked in almost every single interview, certainly that I've been a part of this year, and that has been many, as something really important to people that want to work for us. It's really important to people that they work for a brand that aligns with their values, and it's a really good way of us showcasing what our values are. So yeah, that's me. That is just a really tiny snapshot of some of the stuff that we're working on. I'm very passionate about it. So if anybody wants to talk more about it, just get in touch or grab me for coffee after. Yeah. And I'm now going to hand back over to
me again. Yeah, thanks, Liv. So basically, that's us in a very, very small nutshell. And these guys focus on obviously different projects within their day-to-day work, but there's also lots of people throughout the business at Hardlines doing lots of this in different kind of ways. So these are just two of obviously the amazing people and things that we're doing. Yeah, we've done like a lot of work recently, I would say, on kind of looking back and for this and beyond, but like at those visions, at those missions, at those kind of core things that drive and are meaningful, I think, for Hardlines. And we keep coming back to three things, really, which we now call the 3 C's, which is coffee, creativity, and community. And I really feel like those three things are three things we can really, really get behind as a business. I feel like we've kind of done it since day one, and I feel like we're able to do it a lot more now with a lot more support and a lot more people behind us. So those are really the things that we want to kind of take on and ramp up to 100 and really drive over the next kind of 5, 10, 20 years. Like ideally, you know, we still want Hardlines to be here over that time. We still want to be serving coffee. We still want to, you know, be doing lots of cool shit. So we'll do whatever we can to kind of make that happen. So yeah, you're not going to get rid of us anytime soon. But yeah, that is really it. Just a massive deal from me for coming, and we would love to open the floor if anyone has any questions. Thanks so much.